Good day, everyone. We are the Group 1 and we're going to discuss the 7 core subjects of social responsibility.
So, good day everyone. So, today we are going to discuss to you the good governance and CSR. So, good governance and CSRs has 7 core subjects. So, the first core subject is organizational governance, also known as corporate governance. So, what is organizational governance or corporate governance? So, according to Sir Adrian Cadbury, it is a system by which organizations are directed and controlled. So, leaders should practice and promote ethical behavior, accountability, and transparency. ISO 26000 suggests tools for integrating SR into organizational decisions. So, here are some specific issues for SR improvement. First is development incentives for performance on social responsibility, adjust organizational structures to include third-party review of sensitive areas such as financial management and etc. Next is create ways to track decisions and their implementation to ensure accountability and follow through. And implement processes for meaningful or two-way communications with stakeholders. So, corporate governance or organizational governance, it takes into account the interests of all stakeholders such as customers, suppliers, employees, and other stakeholders. And also, board of directors are included. The rules are included in this core subject. And also, this includes the rules, regulations, and practices through which the overall company is controlled and governance. So the next topic or the next core subject of good governance and CSR is human rights. So human rights is relevant to the economic, social, and environmental aspects of corporate activity. And corporations' activity and the corporation have important role to play enforcing to have an international human rights standard. So, ISO 26000 encourages users to identify and respond to the members' vulnerable groups within their sphere of influence. Users should avoid complicity, that is, avoid assisting those abusing others, and avoid benefiting directly from abuse committed by someone else. So here are some specific issues for SR improvement on human rights. They have to develop mechanism for due diligence way, identify addresses and prevent actual or potential human rights damage and resulting from activities. Provide remedy and grievance procedures. And also, examine the treatment of vulnerable groups in your context, such as indigenous peoples, girls and women, those historically discriminated against on the basis of race, ethnicity and religion, people with disabilities, the elderly and migrants, and etc. So, as we all know, human rights has the most important role in this core subject. So, also the corporation have an important role to play in enforcing international human rights standard. Corporation of being a good corporate citizen, it includes respecting the human rights. Respecting the human rights to this who come into contact with the corporation and are responding to the fact that because many consumers and investors expect corporation to act in a social responsible manners.
Labor practice refers to the various policies, procedures, and actions that business or organizations put in a place to manage the relationship with their employees. The idea that everyone should be able to earn a living wage through freely choosing work is a fundamental principle of labor practice. It is a concept nga ang mga individual kay naay right sa ilang work nga naay safety and healthy environment nga maka-earn sila wage nga makasupport sa ilang kaugalingon o pati na pud sa ilang pamilya nga dili sila mapadulong sa poverty. Ang fairly chosen work pud kay ang workers kay dapat na ay freedom kung asa sila magtrabaho o kung kinsa pud ilahang trabahoan. It also means nga dili sila pwede i-force nga magtrabaho sa unsafe, unhealthy condition or mag-accept sa wage nga below the legal minimum wage. The statement, all workers should experience just and favorable conditions at work, is also a fundamental principle of labor practice. This principle means that every worker should be treated fairly and with dignity in a workplace. It includes ensuring safe and healthy working conditions, fair wages and benefits, and protections against discrimination and harassment. Ang mga employers na adjud responsibility nga ensure ang ilang workplace kay abot aning mga standards og ang govern kay ipurso ang labor laws and regulations para sa protect sa workers' right. Responsibility indeed goes beyond the workplace that an organizations owns and directly controls. Tinudjud ni siya pag-abot jud sa labor practice. Kaya ang organization labor practice kay dako kay ang impact para ma-wide ang community and environment. So, responsibility for labor practice goes beyond the workplace that an organism directly controls ug dapat ang organization kay i-consider ang broader impact sa ilang mga action o decisions on labor practice throughout sa ilang mga supply chains and industries. So, ang labor practice kay importante jud tungod kay sila ang mutabang sa mga rights sa mga employees ug i-ensure ang compliance with labor laws and regulations. Apil na pud ang laws nga relates sa minimum wage, working hours, overtime pay, discrimination ug workplace safety. So overall, labor practice kay essential para maka-create og positive and productive workplace nga maka-benefits ang employers ug employees.
I'm Revivi Ugobo and I'm going to discuss the next core subject of social responsibility, which is the environment. So the environment provides raw materials and resources for medicines and other purposes. They are the foundation of all civilization and sustain our economics. So healthy ecosystems can clean our water, purify our air, maintain our soil, regulate the climate, recycle nutrients, and provide us with food. Here are some specific issues for SR improvement. First is to prevent pollution. Reduce emissions of pollutants into the air, water, and soil as much as possible. So the majority of these pollutants are emitted through human activities like burning fossil fuels, vehicles, and emissions from agriculture and industry. The next specific issue for SR improvement is to practice green procurement. Evaluate suppliers of goods and services on their environmental impacts. Purchase products that consume less resources such as energy-efficient light bulb or low-flow faucets. The next one is to use sustainable, renewable resources whenever possible. One of the examples of sustainable resources is the wind energy. Wind energy is one of the most sustainable form of energy currently available. It harnesses the power of naturally moving air to spin a wind turbines, which in turn generate electricity. Other example is the solar power. Solar power is classed as a sustainable resource kay aga-capture ang energy sa sun without the depletion of the sun itself. Renewable resources include biomass energy, wind energy, and solar energy. So using sustainable and renewable resources can help in avoiding environmental impacts, specifically from air pollution and greenhouse gases. The next issue for SR improvement is conserve water in operations. The last issue for SR improvement of environment is to practice life cycle approach, including disposal. aim to reduce waste, reuse products or components, and recycle materials. And practicing a life cycle approach can lead to fewer environmental impacts from material used, construction practices, and waste management.
Operating practices and some specific issues for SR improvement. Practice honesty. Don't ask or accept bribes and don't try to attempt and break the law through political influences. So, corruption boosts dishonesty and the responsibility in your position will be at stake. And since bribes usually comes up in a negative manner or will impact negatively, then this will also lower your value as a person. Definitely not a good choice. And for political influences, we need we need a person we can rely on in the government. So accepting bribes is a very bad idea, and the money that is offered to you, the amount of money will not be enough for your guilt and all the negative. Respect property rights. Pay fair compensation for property you acquire or use. Copyright issues and plagiarisms has so much value to any kind, and one thing about this is whenever you do not give proper credit to the owner, it will automatically mean that you do not respect the owner enough. And just remember, authenticity is power and so does respect alongside it. Treat suppliers and customers or consumers fairly, including prompt payment of bills and prompt attention to problems. This will also be applied to you, so personal issues and other unnecessary issues should not be taken part of the business. Learn to step aside or put boundaries or barriers on different aspects of life, and definitely avoid injustice labeling someone. Examine your value chain or supply chain and can be sure you are paying enough to enable your suppliers to fulfill their own social responsibilities. So keep yourself accountable of all the necessary operations that you are involved in, especially in money matters, since finances are crucially brutal enough. Realistically, it has a lot of opportunities to provide us if we have it stable. Like for business owners, we need to be financially stable in order for our business to stay in contact with our investors or stay operating, and it will help us for our development. Of course, we need to still give up with our relationship. Like we need to keep the relationship within the co-workers, our employees, and all the other staffs. But finances is one of the major essentials needed in a business, and thus it needs to be stable.
So, good morning everyone. I am Zandra C. Balmoria and I will be discussing one of the 7 core subjects of social responsibility, which is the consumer issues. But before we proceed and to further understand my topic, I would like to give a short meaning of social responsibility. So, social responsibility, individuals or us, are accountable for fulfilling our civic duty, and the actions of an individual must benefit the whole of society. So, us as an individual must not think just for ourselves, but also for the benefit and the welfare that we can give to our society, to our environment, to our country, and to our countrymen. So, because consumer issues is one of the 7 core subjects of social responsibility, we have to address or discuss these following issues. So, one of the issues are protect consumers' health and safety. So, before we introduce our product, we must not think just our product, but also we have to think about the welfare, the benefit that we can give to our consumers, their health and their safety. And then reduce waste by minimizing packing. So it is also our social responsibility to the consumers that we have to inform them on how to minimize waste. This way, it can also benefit the environment. And then eliminate or minimize negative health and environment impacts of product and services such as noise or waste. So because it is also our social responsibility to the consumers that we have to inform them how to properly dispose our the waste, our the garbage, our products, and how to properly dispose them. It is part of our social responsibility to the consumers that they have to be aware on how to minimize uh, waste and to help our environment. And then pay particular attention to the information needs of vulnerable individuals, for example, limited vision or hearing or poor reading ability. So it is part of social responsibility that we must think the welfare of the individuals that have vulnerabilities. It is part of our social responsibility that we have to cater their needs, that we have to adjust or assess them so that uh, so that and because they are also part of the society, and this is our responsibility. So that is all for my topic. Have a good day and thank you.
Hi everyone. So in my part, the community involvement and development. So this is the topic that I would be discussing today. So some specific issues for SR improvement. So first is consult directly with community members before designing the program. So if ang pasabot ani guys is kana ang before ta mag kana ang mag-start sa tong program or mag-design sa tong program is kanang kailangan nato nga mo consult daan sa kanaang community members para maaprubahan nila ang atong plano. Then second is focus on increasing the local procurement and hiring. So mag-focus ta sa kanang pagtaas sa usa ka local procurement ahi ta mag-hired. And next is when investing in the community, consider the economic, social, and environmental impacts of your investment. So, kung mag-invest ka og usa ka kuan sa isa ka community, dapat consider siya as economic, social, and environmental impacts. Nga mag-impact siya sa imong kanaang gipuhunan or kanang hatagan nimo og pamuhunan or something ingana. Then third sa some specific issues for the SR improvement is respect the traditional uses of natural resources by local population, especially indigenous peoples. So, sa ako lang nasabtan ani guys is kana ang respetuhon na to ang traditional uses labi na sa mga indigenous peoples, labi na ilahang mga natural resources and local population. Irespetuhon na to ang mga indigenous peoples kay kanang usap po na sila nga dako og tabang sa tua. And fourth is fulfill tax and other legal responsibilities as described in law even if punishment are not likely. So kailangan to na i-fulfill ang tax and other legal responsibilities labi na kanang mga legal na nga mga responsibilidad nato. Kailangan to na sila nga kana ang i-fulfill as described in law nga kanang gipahigayon na gid sa mga kuan, then even nga ni mga punishment nga dila to ganahan. Then sixth is consider social investment program and infrastructure with will improve quality of life. So kana ang i-consider na to ang social investment sa ka program and infrastructure nga ma-improve ang quality sa atong kinabuhi and which increase the capacity of community to develop sustainable. So dapat ka nang kung mag and which increase na gani the capacity of community to develop sustainable. So dapat ka nang ma-develop na nato ang sustainable sa ato ang life. And that would be all. Thank you.